Good morning, welcome to another edition of the GDFL Footy Show. Yep, it's on again. Round 1 completed last week, we're up to round 2 this week, and we're looking forward to some fantastic football action on this afternoon. A big game, of course, last night out at the West Oval. Hello, I'm Dick Philpott, and once again I've assembled some of the biggest names and brains in local football. We're going to introduce those guys shortly, but the big results last week, Thompson, too good for Corio. Everyone said Tommy Tigers were gone. Not so, they came out and they beat Corio. Inverleigh Hawks, one of the premiership favourites this year, have come out and defeated Geelong West. East Geelong, with their new recruit Ricky O'Toole, defeated the Anarchy Roos with Sean O'Leary kicking 4 goals. Werribee Centrals, up at the Duck Pond, too good for the North Geelong Magpies. Went to sleep in the third quarter. The Maggies came good and booted 7 goals in the last quarter, not good enough to catch up. Rosenweig from the Werribee Centrals Footy Club kicking 6 goals, and Paul Brigette, got to get that pronunciation right, it is Brigette.
Is he hot?
He is, and you can have your Brigette every morning at Panache, apparently. But he booted lazy 4 goals too, can take a big screamer. Bannockburn Tigers, absolutely too good for the poor old Belmont Lions. Our floor manager not very happy about that, with Aaron Eddy kicking 6 goals for the Bannockburn Tigers. And 94.7 match of the round. The Winchelsea Blues, the big comeback, the new side in 2010. Much too good for last year's runners-up Belpost Hill Panthers. Paul Price, the interim coach of the Winchelsea Blues. Yes, he unbelievable. Stepped in for 1 game, another game next week. Not a bad record for Pricey straight away. 7 goals in the last quarter. And as I said, I've got some of the biggest names in local football. And of course, once again, I introduce to you the man from the Bannockburn Tigers, Dale Smyth. Good morning, Dale.
Yeah, good morning, Dick. And after a good start to last week, was a tremendous game up there at Belpost Hill, and probably at no stage did you think Winchelsea would be good enough to actually win the game, but stepped up in the last quarter and overran a tiring Belpost Hill side.
Absolutely.
Good start.
A little bit more about that in a minute. Of course, he is backed by popular demand. We don't know if we got married down at Sale. We don't know if there's any ladies left now unattached in the Sale area, but welcome again, Jake Bourke.
Yes, thank Richard. It's good to be back here and looking forward to getting stuck into it today.
Now, Jake, did Sale Magpies win the premiership last year?
No, I think they nearly won the wooden spoon. So
Won the wooden spoon, so no Bourke, no Sale Magpies. Is that what's going on down there?
You can draw those conclusions if you want.
Unbelievable. Now, boys, we said we had a fantastic opening round with the match of the day last week, with Winchelsea Blues really showing Belpost Hill and kicking 7 goals that last quarter. Dale, it would have been a fantastic game to call.
It was, Dick, and it said it started pretty much on a par with both full forwards, Jovanovic and Ray Edwards at full forward for Winchelsea. They looked like they were going to have a big shootout, but they soon dried up with the flow of the ball, not probably getting down as quickly as they could, but Jovanovic early, very strong in the contested mark and also on the lead, and Ray Edwards similar. So those 2 boys will have good seasons if the ball can continue to go in there quickly. And it just seemed to be that at 3/4 time, you know, we stood back and we just expected Belpost Hill to roll on and win the game, but the Winchelsea side had kicked probably the last 2 or 3 goals in the third quarter, and then they stepped up in the last quarter and they simply outrun them, and they didn't switch Andrew Venner into the ruck until about 14 points down. And by that stage, their run was probably too late. And the other thing I was probably noticeable was they never threw an extra man in defence, Dick, which may have just stemmed the flow. Maybe he would have been better to go into defence and stand in front of their full forward position and just try and hold things up. But look, you've got to give credit where it's due. Winchelsea worked hard all day, and in the end it was the Wainwrights, the Leaks, the Hogarth brothers. They just got things rolling for them and were just far too good.
Jake, of course, before I ask Jake the question, obviously we've got some great vision on our screen at the moment of that game. For our people in Melbourne who don't know, that Belpost Hill have got the Port Melbourne colours on, and of course the Winchelsea Blues play in the obviously Carlton colours there, and some great vision there, of course. Jake, Brett Grgic would have been a little bit disappointed with his debut as coach.
Oh yeah, you'd think so. I suppose they, as we said, we thought that Belpost Hill had the game sewn up at 3/4 time. I think they were about 5-6 goals up, and we thought it'd probably end up being a procession. No, disrespect to Winchelsea, but to their credit, they were able to turn things around in that last quarter and come home with a head full of steam. So good on them, and I think they're every chance of making finals this year.
Absolutely. Well, a couple of the other games, I guess the Bannockburn game, no real surprise, Dale, to come out and beat Belmont Lions. Well, the Belmont Lions people mightn't agree with that, but Bannockburn already showing that they might be a big threat this year. Yeah,
look, that was probably a good win, but when you replace so many of your senior side and you can bring a whole group of new players together, it's going to take a little bit of time to gel, and as I said, like it's probably a new step for them coming out here and playing, but look, they've just got to put their heads down and just be competitive in most games, and you just never know what can turn around. You've got to look at Melbourne in the AFL the last couple of weeks. Their form hasn't been all that bad, and they've beaten 2 sides, or got close in a couple of games, and football's a funny game, Dick. As long as you're out there and having a crack at it, you never know what can turn around.
Indeed. I went up, of course, to see the boys up at the Duck Pond up at Werribee Centrals. I've got to make a comment that the ground up there is in absolutely pristine condition. It looks a magnificent sight at the moment. And I've been told by Frank, the coach, that I've got to keep the lid on things and not say anything too much. But the Magpies did look all right in that last quarter. The first two quarters are okay. Werribee Centrals came out and kicked an amazing 11 behinds in the first quarter, which definitely, if they had been a couple of goals, may have seen the result a lot more in their favour at the end of the day. But it was definitely a very ordinary third quarter for the North Geelong Magpies. Hopefully they can put 4 quarters together from now, and they may have learnt their lesson out of it. Some good signs for the Magpies. I said Paul Brigette, very flexible player up on the forward line, and young Brett Swennerson, fantastic game, and Jared Bryant, of course, who's just every year just getting better and better, and there's going to be, obviously, we think Blake Hutchison may make a return to the side this week, so it could be good for the Magpies. East Geelong, Jake, their big new star recruit, apparently made an appearance, Mr. Ricky O'Toole.
He did.
Any more comment about that?
Well, apparently he was pretty good from all reports. I think he had 24 touches, so that's a very good start. We all know how good he is. And another recruit that they got over the summer break in Chris Hickey was apparently unstoppable in the midfield. So it's actually pretty frightening to think that East Geelong might even be better than they were last year.
And Inverleigh, of course, well, we can't take much out of that game. It looks like Geelong West may be struggling again. It is only early stages, Dale, but Inverleigh always going to be hard to toss out there at the Inverleigh Oval. Yeah,
look, they've recruited pretty well, both sides, and Geelong West, I'm including in that. They've got some good players, and again, it might take them a little bit of time to get themselves going. We're just talking about grounds. You can give credit to the Belmont Lions. Their ground out there on Saturday was magnificent. It's probably the best I've seen it in a long time. It's got a great grass cover all over the ground. So to the people who've been working on that, I don't know if it's the council through their cricket season or whatever, but tremendous job. And as I said, it's good now. We've had a bit of a splash of rain, and hopefully most grounds will be like that.
And of course, Thompson, everyone said they might have been the side that would be a lot not as good this year, have come out and looking pretty good at the moment. But as you said, Jake, they've got some, they say they've lost some players, but some big names still recorded in the footy record.
Yeah, it's funny to see. You look through the seconds team listed for Thompson, and you see familiar names like Tim Gardner and Nick Mahara sitting in there. So you have to wonder whether there's a grand plan there for them to come back later in the season and hopefully get them into the finals action, I suppose. But we all know how much they enjoy their footy, and it'll be interesting to see whether, in fact, they do come back. I don't know if they played last weekend, but I'm not too sure what's going on there, but as I said, you'd think that they'd come back later in the season.
Well, we're going to play a couple of bills, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to talk about all the action on this afternoon. Back after this.